It's easy to forget if you just pay attention to the rhetoric coming out of the White House, but we're still very much in a pandemic. And the reason I say that is because the way that Trump talks about it, when he talks about it at all, is like this, which he said on last Friday. We want the continued blanket lockdown to end for the states. We may have some embers or some ashes, or we may have some flames coming, but we'll put them out. We'll stomp them out. So that makes it sound as if this is effectively done. Maybe a little bit will come in the future. Maybe a good bit will come in the future, but we're good now. You'll understand, in America right now, today, 2 million people have contracted the virus that have been tracked. We've already passed 115,000 deaths. Close to 1,000 people are still dying every day. People aren't really talking about this. And when they do, they use that rhetoric. But I want you to bear in mind how long Donald Trump has been done with this thing. So you might recall this statement. We have met the moment and we have prevailed. That was Donald Trump's mission accomplished moment that he said on May 11th. Since he said that, more than 30,000 confirmed deaths in America from coronavirus have happened. If 30,000 had been the entirety of it, that would be a national tragedy that we would remember for the rest of our lives. That's been since he declared mission accomplished. And I'm going to give Brett a chance to jump in, but you probably know what's coming. We've got some really bad news around the coronavirus that we're going to delve into in just a second.
It's going to get so much worse, man. It's going to get so much worse. And I'm not saying people shouldn't be in the streets right now, but like there are millions of people touching each other outside right now. It's going to get so much worse.
I mean, look, I will say what I've been... So I have a little bit on that, but I will also say, as I've been watching these videos, there is a very diligent commitment to mask wearing. To some extent, it's probably nice when police are surveilling you to be able to wear a mask at all, but there has been a lot. Now, that's not going to stop all the spread, but it is going to limit to some extent.
I mean, okay.
Okay, well, why don't I delve into some of the numbers, because we do have a bit specifically on the concern that you're raising right there.
I don't have a solution. I'm just saying.
No, we're going to fix it together. Okay, so what do we have recently? Well, we have a leaked Centers for Disease Control and Prevention document. It's listed the U.S. as the worst of 10 countries trying to fight major coronavirus outbreaks. Not in March or in April or even in May. We're talking about just days ago. The document showed that between June 6th and June 9th, new COVID-19 infections in the U.S. jumped 36.5% from the average number of new cases, a significant jump all in the last week. That's nationally. Texas health authorities on Wednesday released data showing that 2,153 people are currently hospitalized with the novel coronavirus, marking the third straight day it has reported record number of COVID-19 hospitalizations in the state. Not record for June. Record. And they're breaking the record day after day. And again, this isn't just tests, because if you were testing a lot of people, but people weren't seriously ill, those numbers could go up, but it doesn't necessarily mean the apocalypse is coming. This is hospitalizations for coronavirus in the last week.
Yeah. They opened the cities and the states, and more people are getting it now. And there are more people in protests outside with each other. I'm glad the protests are outside. I'm glad people are wearing masks. It's just, this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. This is the obvious conclusion of the behaviors that people have engaged in. And what Trump is going to cross his fingers about is two things. One, he can blame protesters. But he loses that argument when he starts having rallies again, which start happening.
Which is happening tomorrow.
Like tomorrow, he's going to start having rallies again. So everyone is kind of, still in other ways protecting themselves. But like, this is happening. He's going to cross his fingers and hope that this narrative that I see emerging, which is, listen, it was all people in nursing homes. There were some units there's buildings in major cities that aren't self-contained, so they share ventilation systems. That's what it was. And then he's going to hope it just cancels out and he's going to move ahead. And the only other thing he's going to hope for is that we can have the same problems with voting in November that we had 2 days ago in Georgia, which will benefit him, because of course they will. When people have to wait 12 hours to vote, the only silver lining is people are out of a job, so they don't really have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, that's a dark
Let's
silver
vote, but
lining.
at least they'll get sick.
Yeah.
What? Like
Yeah.
that's what it's about, and it's a concerted effort.
Yeah. Look, I want to give you some more
It's not
updates on.
good.
No, it's not.
It's so bad.
We got more bad stuff. So,
Everything's so bad.
Brett, hold on to your butts. Okay. So, we're gonna give you some more numbers on what's going up and what's not. So, as to what is causing it, look, I have no doubt that at some point new infections will be traced back to protests. I will say that while that is almost certainly going to happen, it is still a little bit early to be able to show that. And so far what we're seeing apparently is not being driven by that just yet. The Kaiser Family Foundation reported on Wednesday that the number of new infections in Texas, Utah, and Arizona, 3 of the states that are seeing the biggest rises recently, began to tick upward on May 27th, just after Memorial Day weekend and before protests gained momentum. The protests have been going on for some time, but we're still at a fairly early date to be able to say that people had the time to contract the virus, become symptomatic, and then spread it to more people, which is where you see the explosion. That could hypothetically happen, but we also had, by the way,
Track the virus, spread it to more people, and become symptomatic.
Yes, exactly, because you can't
I know,
contract it
just
and then
want
spread it instantaneously. Yes, but remember, like a month before the protests even began, we had the reopenings initially in some states, not necessarily full, but Texas, by the way, is one of the states that opened up most fully earliest. Now, let's say it's not just Texas, though. You have, Arizona. 3 weeks after the governor lifted the stay-at-home order, coronavirus is making a comeback with their hospitals apparently at 83% capacity already. You have Arizona's daily new reported cases increasing by 211% over the past 2 weeks to nearly 30,000 total cases. We could go through many state-by-state analyses like this. And look, there are some states that are doing better. There are some states that are sort of holding steady. Some states we don't necessarily trust the numbers from, but there are those already that are looking like they're going to be hot spots for the virus. And my fear is that we will do what we did the first time. We will wait too long to do anything about this. And thankfully, we have people in office who understand that you need to learn from the past. People like Donald Trump, who tweeted today, "Those that deny their history are doomed to repeat it." I assume he's talking about coronavirus. I assume. Yeah. Maybe not.
But when you assume, your president's an ass.
Exactly. I'm worried. California is looking okay. It has had a rise. It's not one of the worst states, but Florida is looking rough. It's looking like the nursing homes are once again. Nobody's even talking about it, man. That's the most frustrating thing. And like, I can bring it up, and I sort of get it. I think that the audiences have moved on, so the news doesn't think that it's like, let's see how many people watch this video. I tweeted about the fact that 30,000 people have died since he said that, and like the reaction was mostly, but like 1,000 people are dying. Remember?
I'll tell you
when we were all freaked out because 1,000 people were dying? Well, right now 1,000 people are dying. Why aren't we freaked out?
You killed 100,000 people? You must get up very early in the morning.
Exactly. I don't understand it. We're acting like this thing is over. This isn't even the second wave. This is just the equilibrium. No, maybe the beginning, but I'm saying the fear is that it will jump back up to, 2,500, 3,500 people dying in a day.
St. Louis, or what I think it was St. Louis, they had the parade, one parade.
Yeah. This
wasn't a parade and people in restaurants and people at Trump rallies.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad. It's just the freakish muscle of normalization.
Yeah.
That's it.
You saw that Vegas video, right?
Oh, yeah. I saw the Vegas stories ahead of time where they showed like bulletproof glass around different stations at the roulette table or the craps table, I guess.
I mean, that's
not even the craps table. Like it couldn't even be the craps table. Couldn't be roulette. It would have to be something like because those are all community. Mm-hmm. It had to be blackjack tables where like they slide in. And I saw that, and then I saw the Cosmo where everyone was doing the same thing, crossing my fingers, praying to God for HEPA filters. Mm-hmm. And like there was someone behind the dealers have masks on.
Yeah. And that's like it. Yeah, It's such a weird, we each live in a different world. Like, maybe, hypothetically, my gym might be opening on Friday. I don't know if it will. but it's going to be reduced capacity, temperature checks before you go in, things get wiped down after every person uses it. And I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. And then meanwhile it's Vegas and it's like, yeah, partied up crowds passing. Like, it's like, why am I being responsible?
People were drinking though. That's what I felt in high school when people were drinking.
Yeah.
I was like, oh well, you guys do seem to be having a good time, but I'm being responsible.
That's true. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Okay, well, we got a lot of other stuff.
I would say go use the stairs in Torrance to go work out, but COVID Karen and or Corona or whatever, Torrance Karen, SoCal Karen. I don't know if you've seen that video yet.
No.
I'll send it to you.
No.
Everyone watch.
Although I did see when I noticed I saw the John Krasinski's canceled party hashtag, and I saw someone tweeting about, I know which Karen ratted him out, and it was a photo of Karen from The Office. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.